Ka-chow, what's poppin', pumpkin heads? It's your boy, Sweet Lou, back again with the pumpkin arch. Today, I'm going to show you how to take seeds and make them into seedlings. It takes a few steps, and I've got the process broken down by pots. So let me just explain. The goal is to give your seed the best possible chance of germinating, and then the best chance to speed up its root growth, because it's all about root growth in the very beginning. We want it to fill up as much space as it can and use those roots as the powerhouse for growing the plant. So in order to do that, I start out with these, I think they're peat um, cups to hold soil and germinate the plants. When these are wet and dark long enough, the roots can grow right through them as if it's soil. But when they're exposed to air, they work as little planters. This is a trade-off. It provides a little bit extra resistance to the roots, that if the soil's not wet enough, they could get a little root bound and it can slow down their growth. And they're a little bit expensive, but I've had bad experiences with just taking things like ice cream pint cups and trying to move them with the dirt and to replant them into the garden box, which is the ultimate goal. So I feel like these it might add a little extra pressure to the roots, but you don't disturb them when you move them. And that's what I did last year, and I had good results. So I'm going to take one of these and then put potting soil into it. Potting soil, it doesn't matter that much. Normal potting soil has, as long as it's loose. So I went in there with my, I forget what it's called, my little shovel, and broke up the potting soil to make it as loose as possible, and then filled up the soil up to about an inch and a half from the top. I got that inch and a half from the Harris Seeds label that said that's how deep the pumpkin seed should be. Now, if you look in here closely enough, how do we get, there we go. There's a little white powder on there. That's not a part of the soil. That's an amendment that I added in there. So one of our goals is to get the roots to grow as fast as possible. Roots don't grow all by themselves. I mean, they can, but they grow best and they get the most out of the soil when they can make friends with certain beneficial bacteria and beneficial fungi, I think they're called. To that end, I have two amendments that are expensive that I put whenever I'm putting soil that's going to be exposed to the roots directly. What happens is when the roots first start to grow, they make friends with this bacteria and with this fungi, and it accelerates their growth. The fungi's growth, the bacteria's growth, and the roots growth. So I have two of those. One of these is called Extreme Gardening Azos. That's the bacteria. And it looks like a white powder. How do I do this without? You can see in there. How do I get sun in there? Oh, maybe it's this way. You can see just a white powder inside, and it has a little scoop. I use the scoop, just a tiny little amount, right where I'm going to put the seed. In fact, I'll even move it around a little bit into a little hole so that where I put the seed, when the roots first come out, it'll be in contact with the azos. Now I do the same, so that's for the bacteria, those are beneficial bacteria. Then I do the same for the mycose, which is this one, which is, Extreme Gardening Mycose. It's got mycorrhizal inculin. I don't know, it has a fancy name. It's just a fungus that helps. And that looks like pebbles of sand. Wait a sec. I'm going to open this up. Here we go. You should be able to see right inside there. It looks like kitty litter, little flakes. So then I take those and I add them. I've already done this one, so you can see what it looks like. It's just got like a little bit of little gray pebbly stuff. And then I use my finger and I put a little hole And then when I put the seed in, I make sure that that'll be one of the first things that the seed touches. Now, when it's time to put your seed in, the depth is important. So for this, it says 1.25 to 1.5 inches, which is what I'm aiming for here. The other thing is, remember, these are the seeds that we soaked overnight in a damp paper towel to wake them up a little bit. And when you put them in, it's important that you don't put them straight up and down. You need to put them with the pointed side down, because that's where they're supposed to go, but at a little bit of an angle, so it's like 45 degrees. So I'll show you what that looks like. Putting it in here at about 45 degrees, and then covering it up. So it'll be in its position. Yeah, I guess that's a tip I got from another pumpkin gardener. It maximizes the chances of it making a strong seedling. I'm not entirely sure why, but I did that here as well. Then the next step I did here, which is to cover it with soil. Now, the soil I covered it with is more than 1.5 inches. That's because when you get it wet, it tamps down a little bit, which is what I did over here. So I just wetted it, soaked it all the way through. You can tell the sides of the peat container are now wet through, and if that was in soil, they would start to dissolve, would kind of turn into soil. But since I'm going to keep these out for a while until they germinate, they make a little bit of a mess. I'll put them on a platter inside. They don't need to be in the sun. Once you get to this stage, they just need time and to stay moist. And then eventually they will germinate, and they will have 2 little proto leaves come off. These are just little solar panels that sort of, they use to triangulate where the sun is, and then they come out with the first leaf back here. And that is sort of maximized, aimed right at the sun, and then it will grow the vine right the opposite side of where the leaf grew. So the vine will grow towards the sun. They'll always be chasing the sun. All right, so that is the whole plan. I could show you doing it step by step, but I think just showing the different stages should be enough for you to get it. I use one of these to get the soil in, and it actually has a little ruler on it, so you can see how deep in inches you're actually putting your seed. All right, that's it. So now I'm gonna put these inside and wait until they germinate, and I'll be back for another video. Catch you later, pumpkin heads.